There are certain things that will happen in your life that make you pick up the pace, that slap you out of your stupor and say, this ain't no time to cry. You feel like I can't even have good grief without the world going crazy. God did not promise you that by the time you got to where you was trying to go, it would be what you thought it would be. God did not promise you that by the time you got the house you were trying to get, it would be what you thought it would be. God did not promise you that by the time you found your significant other, that it would be what you thought it would be. The danger of low expectation.
But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. You sort of put a mask on your face when you come to school and pretend that everything's okay when it's not, and you go home and lay in your bed when no one's looking at you, when you don't have to impress anybody, and you're yourself. And fear comes in. You know the fear that you have as soon as you walk into the doors of your house. Maybe there's a broken home. Maybe you have doubt in your life. Maybe you don't know for sure what's going to be happening in the future and it scares you. Maybe you're worried about what people think of you, what people say about you. Just that fear paralyzes you. And I just want to ask you today, do you think you have hope? Because I tell you, I'm down here, face down, and I have no arms, no legs. It should be impossible for me to get back up, but it's not. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up. Does that make sense? And it's not the end until you've given up.
The one thing I can tell you for sure is that nothing is for sure. That's the one thing I can tell you to count on, is don't count on anything. that life will often disrupt what you expected. That just as soon as you have it down in a nice, neat little box of how you think it's going to go, and that when I walk down here, this is what is going to happen, by the time you get there, it will never be what you expected it to be. So you got to get used to being a little disappointed. You got to get used to being a little bit shocked. You got to get used to walking into situations and being flexible and adjustable. Because if you are not flexible, you cannot survive.
Shakespeare says, sweet are the uses of adversity. Ooh, I like that. Sweet are the uses of adversity. He says, you must learn to use adversity for your benefit. One of the wealthiest men in the United States, I just finished reading his book. He says, if there is a silver lining to bad times, it is this. When facing severe challenges, your mind is normally at its sharpest. No wonder why he's a billionaire. When facing challenges, he says, your mind kicks in and thinks beyond the norm. He also says, another statement I thought was interesting, he said, humans seldom have created anything of lasting value unless they were tried or hurting. Benefits from crisis. This is when you are supposed to become a greater leader, a better leader, because your skills must be tested. I put it another way, Abraham Lincoln was an amazing guy. He became the greatest president in the midst of trials. Today, I still am convinced he is the greatest president of the United States in history, because he used adversity to create a federation that lasted 300 years and still were working. But it came out of the fires of crisis.
There's going to be things that come along that flatten you so hard you won't believe it. And you're not happy then. And so if life is to be happy, well, in those situations, what are you doing? Why even live? But life isn't to be happy. If you're happy, you're bloody fortunate, and you should enjoy it. You should, because it's the grace of God, so to speak. With regards to meaning, you'll have a choice. Choice number one, nothing you do means anything. The alternative is, everything you do matters. Really, if you make a mistake, it's a real mistake. If you betray someone, you tilt the world a little more sharply towards evil rather than good. It matters what you do. Well, if you buy that, then you can have a meaningful life.
I want people not to be afraid to be themselves, no matter what circumstances they're in. Your situation doesn't define who you are. You define who you are. Our lives is about feeling good, not about just who we are, about just feeling good about everything that's supposed to feel right.
Mindset I'm defining as what's possible in your life, right? Think about the area that you're not making progress in, and mindset is the set of assumptions and attitudes we have around something, around how the world works, especially what we believe is possible, what we believe we're capable of, what we believe we deserve.
If you're suffering, you are obligated, in a sense, to hold on to whatever rope someone throws you. Don't sacrifice your stability. Assuming you want to get better, there's usually something you could figure out that would constitute a step towards some sort of concrete goal. Small, accruing gains that repeat are unbelievably powerful. You can look at your life and you can see what isn't right about it. All you have to do is look. And then you can start to fix that. And the way you fix it is by noticing what you could in fact fix.
Luck is a part of all of our lives to a certain degree, both good fortune and bad. But by definition, you don't have control over luck. And your habits also matter. And I think that the reason they're so worthwhile to focus on and understand is that they are the portion of your life that you can influence that also determines your outcomes. It's not just luck, it's not just habits, but one of those you have control over.
There's a difference between knowing something and walking it in your heart and your body. And so what keeps us from mastery sometime is this idea that, oh, I know this already. You know, go get to the other stuff that you're really holding back. But it's the fundamentals that the masters get really good at. And if you ask yourself, how come I can never do this, or how come I can never be this person, or how come I can't earn this money, your brain's gonna find evidence to support that. If you knew how truly powerful your mind was, you wouldn't say or think something you didn't want to be true.